Warning, the following scene is played by anime characters and would be extremely dangerous if attempted by actual humans.
Stop me if you heard this one before. This is a great anime, but ooh, the fan service. I can't stand the fan service. Yes, I get it, haha, funny joke, but you'd be surprised to see that a lad by the name of Ibs is unironically this meme personified. Originally, I was just gonna leave this video be, but as I went further into it, it becomes worse and worse. The nonsense you're about to witness is on par with This Is Chris, so have fun suffering along with me.
Fanservice can be two characters fighting that people have always wanted to see fight, or it can be two other things, kinda in your way.
Now, I will give Ibs credit for pointing out that fanservice doesn't begin and end at tits and ass, but that's also one of the only things salvageable in the video that he doesn't fuck up.
And in this video, we will be talking about the latter, the fan service that usually makes people uncomfortable. You know, the fan service that you don't want your parents to walk in on you watching.
Titties make people uncomfortable. Spoken like a true prudish loser. Good thing you didn't watch or play something like Senran Kagura, you would have a heart attack and spontaneously combust. You're gonna notice several cuts in this video because Ibs tends to pause a lot. So to make this a little less painful to sit through, I'm editing them out. It feels like he didn't script this video, did everything in one take, and called it good. Because Ibs' incompetence are like oil and water. Incompatible.
I want to give you some backstory, right?
He was super into anime way back when, but then he wasn't. And despite allegedly being in his early 20s now, he can only remember basic bitch shonen. And he will only list basic bitch shonen throughout the rest of this video. That's how predictable these people have gotten. I can summarize it in just 2-3 sentences.
You didn't really have to go into all that detail. I'm just saying you didn't. It was an unnecessary story, and I honestly don't have the time.
And I want to say that fan service has definitely ruined anime for me to some degree. And if that makes me like a fake fan or a normie or whatever, dude, I don't really give a shit. Like, so be it, right?
Nah, if boobs are enough to turn you away from a series, then you're just pathetic, period, end. Now, if the fan service were to detract from emotional or tense scenes, then you'd actually have a criticism worth talking about. Crying discomfort, or that the fan service exists at all, is meaningless.
I can name off specific animes that have gone completely ruined due to the fan service. I mean, everybody knows Fairy Tail. It's became like such a meme of an anime because of how bad the fan service is.
Basic bitch choice is expected. And while Ibs claims to like Fairy Tail, he thinks that the fight scenes suffer, which is kind of important in Battle Shonen, so why the fuck are you here? While the evil animated titties are given more attention.
I mean, think about it, bro. You watch a slideshow of a fight, a PowerPoint presentation that it's supposed to be an animated fight, right? And then 2 seconds after the fight is over, they have the best jiggle physics you would ever see animated on the booba.
Let me think about it. Okay, I thought about it.
If you think this is impressive physics, you're delusional. Now, if you're looking for impressive boob physics, do I have the anime for you?
Like, you could tell somebody sat there for like a good hour and animated that pristinely. They sat down for an hour for 3 seconds of jiggle physics. And it makes me wonder, what is the point of the anime if the fight scenes are gonna look like a high school presentation, but the jiggle physics looks like the president himself requested it? What is the point of the show?
I'm not gonna bother going over the lunacy of comparing a titty drop to a fight scene because that just speaks for itself. As for the point, at least in Fairy Tail's case, it's usually for the sake of a gag.
Looking good.
Now, whether or not the gag lands is dependent on context and the viewer. Sometimes it lands, sometimes it doesn't. And just so those people are addressed, bathing scenes are not fan service. If you think that, then you can't control your boner. You can have nudity and states of undress without it being titillating. And even if the fan service was giving context or an in-universe explanation, people like you would still piss and moan. Because your issue is that the fan service exists at all, not whether or not it's prefaced. Which, as I've said before, is a meaningless criticism. Can you guess who he's gonna bitch about soon?
Fairy Tail is a pretty big meme for its fan service. I guess that's not a fair representation. How about I choose an anime that people actually enjoy nowadays, like Fire Force?
Basic bitch choose a series that isn't mainstream shonen challenge, never to be completed. And the half-wits that say, oh, well, shonen's very popular, so that's why I used it, need to shut the fuck up and get real arguments.
What is the point of a firefighter wearing a bikini? Not to mention a 16-year-old firefighter.
Of course you care too much about fictional character ages. And what do you want instead? For Tamaki to wear nothing under her uniform? I would say that the fan service scenes with Tamaki are annoying in the same way that the fan service scenes in High School of the Dead are annoying. They happen very frequently, even in scenes that are supposed to be tense, which makes the tone from scene to scene extremely muddled. If Ibs said something to that effect, I'd leave this point alone. But since Ibs is an incompetent turd, that's not the argument he uses. I personally like Tamaki, and not just for the obvious reasons. Yes, she's clumsy, easy to frighten, and has terrible luck. But despite all this and her self-loathing, she still has the courage to fight for others. But people will ignore this because they didn't actually watch Fire Force beyond a compilation of fan service scenes where Tamaki is the most prominent. If you're gonna bring up the fan service scenes, you're also gonna have to bring up the scenes where Tamaki contributes to the plot. And sometimes both of these things happen in the same scene without it clashing too much. So there's no excuse to say that Tamaki is nothing but eye candy unless you didn't watch Fire Force. Ibs tries using Tamaki's wiki page as a gotcha to say, oh, Fire Force is real creepy, guys, when the wiki just retains info from the show and it isn't an official site, as in it's made by the fans, not the creator. And if you think that a literal descriptor of the character's appearance is too creepy, you're telling on yourself.
You genuinely can't make it make sense. And if you have to say like, oh, her ability has to work, she has to be half naked for her ability to work, like, you know, like half of the My Hero Academia cast, like, why does the writer have to write so dog shit?
Dogshit writing is when fan service is given context rather than just existing for the sake of existing. We get it, you just want to bitch for bitching's sake. Go back to your confident fucking rot there.
This guy's been cursed by one of the books and become a complete moron!
The cast has to be naked in order for their abilities to work. It sounds like cope, doesn't it?
No, it's an explanation, but people like you with a negative IQ have a fetish for being wrong. But please, do continue. Everybody needs to get off after all.
Like, the writer of this manga is like, how am I supposed to sexualize a 15-year-old girl without looking like a creep?
If you see a real kid in a non-existent being, you need to stay 100 miles away from anything with a fucking pulse.
Oh, that's right. Her ability. She has to be naked to perform her ability. It's genius. No, it's not, bro. You're a pedophile. I see through it.
You know fucking nothing, you waste of semen. Every one of you subfunctional wastes of life can't go a fucking second without downplaying pedophilia. I'm tired of repeating myself for why people like you are wrong and objectively shitty human beings, but there's already an ongoing archive of people with your mindset that are often outed as real pedophiles or even worse human beings. So either you are that uninformed and dim, or you're just as bad as these people I'm showing now. I am hoping to Christ it is the former. Any vitriol and hate that you get for that comment is 100% deserved. I am so sick of all of you.
Know your fucking place, trash.
And there is sometimes where fan service is kind of appreciated, like when the character is of age. If it doesn't happen every 5 seconds, like there is like a specific scene or episode, like I think Attack on Titan has like one where it showed off like Mikasa's new physique in the new season or something. It's like, it's nothing crazy. It doesn't happen 5 times an episode. It's just one scene. It doesn't even show off that much.
You think a training montage is fan service? It fucking isn't. And how old is Mikasa at this point in the series? By your logic, you're a pedophile.
Fucking whoops.
So it's came to my attention while editing this video that Fire Force actually does parody fan service on purpose. Like, they do it on purpose as a joke to make fun of other animes that do it. And I guess that does make it a little bit more understandable, but it's still kind of weird.
How weird something is not indicative of quality. And as I've said, even if there's an explanation, you would still piss and moan. Your input is worthless. Also, edit out your pauses. Fuck, the amount of cutting I needed to do.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared to start new animes out because I feel like I'm going to get hooked on the first 2 episodes and then the third one's going to have naked children in it. So, that's why I don't watch anime anymore.
It's not my fault that you suck dick at finding anime that matches your taste. Also, what fucking children? Ibs then moves on to ecchi, or at least what he assumes to be ecchi. He shows an image of My First Girlfriend's a Gal, which isn't even that good anyway. And his other examples of what he considers ecchi are romantic comedy anime. The only series listed here that comes anywhere close to ecchi is Don't Toy Me Miss Nagatoro, and that's if we're being extremely generous. Because apparently to Ibs, lewd humor constitutes softcore porn.
All like the 20-year-old e-girl pick-me girls have to go and rush the cosplay of the main female lead cast so they can, like, you know, get all the simps all over them and stuff.
And we reach the sexism bit, because obviously the only reason why people want to cosplay a character is because they're a pick-me. Not because they like the character or anything, it's only because they want to con simps out of their money. You are genuinely lower than scum. I am aware that Natalie X Hunter went over this video and she is a lot more civil than I could ever hope to be. Me personally, I refuse to give Ibs any respect. He hasn't earned it, he doesn't deserve it. Don't expect me to stop being mean until the video ends. Using a Marin Kitagawa cosplayer for this segment is so ironic it hurts.
Hey, isn't that thing on your bag from some anime? Wow, you're a nerd. A hot nerd, though.
At least I'm not a stalker.
No wonder you're salty. Marin's your literal antithesis.
And I'm just gonna say it, bro. These animes are either designed for like 14-year-old kids that don't have very good parental supervision.
Present company included. Your parents owe the world an apology for failing to fucking raise you.
And it's not fair to complain about the fan service in an anime like this because the show is literally designed to be fan service.
And thus, this segment is pointless other than showing that you're teetering into sexism. Incredible.
So as a teenager watching anime really hasn't hit the mainstream yet. It kinda did, but not exactly. Watching anime, I got teased a little bit for it, and I never understood why, you know? As a teenager, yeah, there was some fan service things that I enjoyed, but I was a kid, and looking back on it, I kinda enjoyed more of the adventure, the writing.
This dumbass uses Naruto as an example of good writing. Naruto has its merits, but it's not the first example I'd choose. You would think that someone who claims to have watched hundreds of anime in the past would come up with a better example, but again, Ibs is incompetent.
But then as I watched more and more anime and got older, I started to realize that there is a lot of anime out there that relies strictly on fan service. I'm not even talking about fan service animes. I'm talking about like actual action adventure fighting animes.
Ibs then uses High School DxD as an example because his knowledge begins and ends at whatever anime has a large following. High School DxD fucking slaps though. And if you're gonna use One Piece as an example of an anime that's carried by fan service, you're gonna need more than one example. For a series that almost has 1,100 episodes. Same goes for the aforementioned Fairy Tail while we're at it.
This is either for unsupervised young teens or adult men that can't talk to women.
Why, hello, Mr. Strawman. That's a cute opinion. Did a nanny tuber give it to you? Find a take that isn't 15 years outdated, you useless cunt.
Like, if you are in your 20s and you don't know how to talk to women, you cope by watching Dress Up Darling.
You really hate yourself, don't you? But don't worry, the feeling's mutual.
And in a way, it does kind of ruin anime for me because the target audience are these, like, perverted weirdos.
Well, maybe if you watched anime that wasn't catered to teenage boys.
Stay with me.
And made an attempt to find more anime that's suited to your taste, rather than just what's popular.
Stay with me.
Then maybe you would look at the medium without such a dim view. But despite claiming to be an adult, Shame still has your balls in a vice grip and refuses to let the fuck go. I would pity you if you weren't such a shit human being throughout this video.
Feels degrading saying, yeah, I'll watch anime. Not any of the weird ones, though. I watch the good anime. I shouldn't have to say that.
No one's saying you have to, Sunshine, but being Shame's whipping boy is just too good, it seems. And desperately trying to convince people that you only watch the good anime and not the icky ones. What would people typically call that? Oh, that's right, a pick-me. Go home, Ibs.
Get the fuck out of my sight before I demolish you.
Breaking news, Ibs has proof of anime being catered to weirdos? Took him long enough to be competent, let's see what he has. It's a meme from iFunny. This is eye-opening. This meme is without a shadow of a doubt Ibs' thought process and personality. His entire being can be summed up with this image. There are no words in any language on earth that can describe how pathetic this is. He is so devoid of independent thought, so lacking in sense of self, that a meme can describe him to a T. Oh, and remember when he said that he didn't care about being called a normie?
Normally I'm up for gatekeeping, but I'm sorry that not enjoying naked children on my computer screen makes me a normie. Like, if that makes me a normie, I guess I'm glad to be normal.
Oh yes, I'm super happy to be a sexist fuckwit that calls anybody and everybody pedophiles because drawings. But drawings of what the? Anybody with an actual argument? Didn't think so. And to everybody who successfully gatekept Ibs out of anime, I will personally award you all a Purple Heart.
That it does seem a bit excessive at times. And then it bleeds into like the actual good animes because they're like, oh,
and skip.
I don't like cheap boobs. I don't like boobs thrown into my face every second. At this point, if you want to make that argument, why don't you just go to the GTA strip club?
Ah yes, just watch porn, what people on Twitter say when they have zero argument. I'll tell you something real crazy, so strap on. You can have titillation without the urge to rub one out.
That was way too steamy for me.
I'm sorry, it's just that I've heard so many people be like, oh, you don't like fan service? What, you don't like boobs? What, are you gay? And it's like, no, I just like real women, real boobs, and having sex in real life.
I don't believe you!
No, guys, I have plenty of sex, on God. Given your view on what you consider pick-me's, the only action I could see you getting is with your hand. People that have sex don't feel the need to tell strangers that they do indeed have sex. Unless they're the kind of person that peaks in high school and never grew up. It would explain why you sound like a 2010 frat boy.
Which makes me think of another point. A lot of these people refer to women as 3D women.
It's a meme, you amoeba, so again, skip.
Let's talk about the problem of the sexualization of young teens in anime.
How about we clown on you more for being stupid as shit?
And I want to specifically say the young teens because we can all unanimously agree that the people that are into lollies are weirdos, right?
You had zero qualms calling people pedos before, but now you're too chicken shit to say it again? Quit fence sitting. On the upside, Shota lovers, you're out of the crosshairs, so rejoice.
I don't care how many thousand of years the plot says she is.
Then you have nothing of value to contribute. Just keep ignoring context because you can't fathom being wrong about a medium you know nothing about. Fucking skip.
And one thing I realized about anime is that, yeah, they usually do portray teenage girls in a sexual manner, but I realize it's not because they're pedophiles or they want to, like, appeal to pedophiles, but because the target audience is literally supposed to be the age of those girls, if not younger.
Everyone shut the fuck up. It's learning. Ibs found out what shonen is. Hang on, I feel like we've been here before.
Don't get me wrong, that doesn't make it right. I don't think you should be pushing softcore pornography onto children.
Yes, porn is when no penetration or extreme fetishes.
This is your opinion, and this is where it belongs.
It's better than, like, catering to pedophiles, which ends up being what it is. I mean, like, if you're into watching sexualized, like, 15-year-olds, you are a pedophile.
Good thing they only like non-existent beings that don't even resemble humans. And now it's time to use your logic against you. Bitch. You show what you would consider CSEM in this video. Doing that counts as distribution, which is illegal. Bitch. Saving it to put in the video would count as consumption. Bitch. Didn't report it to the authorities, so you might as well be harboring CSEM from the cops. By your logic. Bitch. So this video creates multiple felonies by existing. Bitch. So by your logic, you need to be locked up.
Go right to fucking jail!
But Alec, he censored the image, so he should be, and that's not how it works, you inbred. Censoring CSEM doesn't change the fact that a real child was harmed in the making of said photo, video, what have you. This is why you could get away with fictional beings. You cannot convince me that the posturing of aunties like Ibs is anything but performative. They do not care about kids, no matter how hard they try to convince themselves.
People are always like, oh, they're just fictional children. They're not real children. What does that even mean?
If you are in your 20s and you cannot differentiate real and not real, you deserve to be mocked into oblivion. It cannot be put into simpler terms. You're just slow.
Dude, like, are you saying that if the power grid goes out nationally and you can't watch anime for, like, the next 2 days, you're gonna go outside and, like, sexualize real children?
That's a completely different sentence and you know it. Do I need to bring up the archive again? Step on a Lego. Ibs pauses like 5 times in the next segment, and I do not have the energy because I will have an aneurysm if I try to cut them out. So what's the next segment?
And I don't care how many black teens that are socially outgoing that you know that also watch the same animes, you're still a fucking loser. Like, I see it all the time, dude. Like, there's some, like, loser that's like, I know this black guy that's actually very socially outgoing that also watches the same animes as me, and he's very cool. That makes me not a loser by association. It's like, no, that's not how it works, buddy. He's doing it to be quirky, you're doing it because you depend on it. Okay, I don't know what that was all about.
You could have edited this out. This does nothing for your argument. So, black people who watch anime are also being pick-me's? Not because they actually like the series they're watching? This man-child has a 6-figure sub count, and whoever got him to this point, I hate you all. I miss the days where these takes never saw the light of day.
To summarize my points, I think fan service in anime has gotten a little bit too excessive. I think it gets a little bit cringe.
Ah yes, cringe. Clearly an apt descriptor for what one considers pedophilic. Don't reproduce.
And there's a lot of people that are using it as a means to gatekeep.
And I am happy beyond words that it's successful with you and other people with your thought process. Please let the door hit you head first on the way out. Ibs barely qualifies as a sentient being. His video just consists of takes that you would see on Twitter from people that have even less sense of self than him. Calling his points half-assed is an insult to things that are half-assed. Despite claiming to have watched hundreds of anime in the past, he can't bring up a decent example to save his fucking life. And throughout this entire video, he comes across as an insecure pussy that is terrified of being judged because an anime may not be kosher. That My Dress Up Darling clip that I used earlier in the video is pretty much the greatest summation of Ibs' tirade that you can get. An insecure loser that sounds like he peaked in high school and never grew up, desperately trying to convince others that he's not weird and that he has plenty of sex. Honestly, the man claims to be in his 20s yet acts like somebody half his age. All that I really have left to say is that he can wallow in his own self-loathing. His points and his video are less than worthless, and his supporters are dense to an insulting degree. People like that deserve to be gatekept out of any hobby or community. And to everybody that isn't a glue-sniffing tool and made it to the end of this video, Merry late Christmas and a Happy New Year. And always remember,
Fan service wins over frustration.